$55 billion.
Wow.
Stolen from businesses since 2013.
Yeah.
Through businesses. Email compromise attacks.
That's great.
2.9 billion of that was just in 2023 alone.
It's a stark reminder.
It really is.
That even in our hyper-connected world,
right,
sometimes the oldest tricks in the book are still the most effective.
Absolutely.
Right.
But today's deep dive goes beyond the headlines.
Yeah, beyond those numbers for sure.
We're sifting through all the news from February 24th, 2025.
All right.
Pulling from Cybersecurity HQ's own recording.
Of course.
Along with intel from security heavyweights like ESET, Checkpoint, and Sonentech.
Big names.
So strap in because we're going deep into the trenches of cybersecurity.
Love it.
First up, let's talk about quantum computing.
Quantum.
Microsoft just unveiled the Majorana 1.
The Majorana 1?
First quantum processing unit.
Right.
Rocking these potentially super stable topological qubits.
Topological qubits.
Topological qubits. Sounds like something out of Star Trek.
It does, doesn't it?
Why all the hype around these things? Are they really that different from the regular qubits?
They are.
Oh.
Imagine a regular qubit as a house of cards. Fragile and easily disrupted.
Okay, fragile.
Right.
Got it.
Now picture a topological qubit as a solid, well-built fortress.
Okay, so more stable.
Much more robust.
Okay.
Less prone to errors. Traditional qubits need a lot of babysitting.
Yeah.
With extra qubits dedicated just to error correction.
Oh, I see.
Topological qubits, on the other hand, are designed to resist those pesky errors from the get-go.
So less fragile, more reliable.
Yeah.
But Microsoft's talking about fitting 1 million qubits on a single chip.
It's ambitious.
That sounds a bit like science fiction.
It's important to manage expectations.
Right.
Even Scott Aronson, a giant in the quantum computing field, draws parallels between these topological qubits today. Yeah.
And where traditional qubits were a couple of decades ago.
Oh, really?
We're talking early stages here.
So no quantum computers in our pockets just yet.
Not quite yet.
Bummer. But I have to ask, what happens to our online security when this tech does become mainstream?
Well, that's the billion-dollar question.
Yeah.
Or rather, multi-billion-dollar question.
Yeah, right.
Current encryption methods will be about as useful as a screen door on a submarine.
Okay, got it.
The urgency to migrate to post-quantum cryptography is real.
Yeah.
Whether this quantum leap happens in 5 years or 10.
Wow.
As Phil Venables from Google Cloud recently emphasized.
Right, because a hacker with a quantum computer could crack current encryption like it's child's play.
Exactly.
So this AI-driven security platform, Rad Security, that just scored $14 million in funding.
I saw that.
Are they factoring in this quantum wildcard?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, they are focusing on making security teams more efficient.
Okay. And securing AI implementations themselves.
Right.
But, you know, their current techniques like runtime security and behavioral fingerprinting might need a major overhaul in a post-quantum world. Imagine if those baselines of normal activity get completely distorted by quantum hacking tactics.
Wow.
It's a whole new ballgame.
A whole other world.
Yeah.
Okay, so AI as a shield against these increasingly sophisticated attacks.
Right.
But flip the coin. And we've got AI as the weapon itself.
Exactly.
OpenAI had to shut down ChatGPT account. Linked to...
Oh, yeah. I read about this.
Wait for it.
This is a crazy one.
Chinese spy networks.
It is. It's a sobering example of the dual nature of AI. These weren't just casual users.
No.
They were actively leveraging ChatGPT to develop and distribute spying tools, debugging code, crafting marketing materials, conducting research, even translation.
Oh, wow.
They were using it for the whole 9 yards.
Hold on. So they were essentially training AI to become a better spy.
Essentially. Yeah.
That sounds like something straight out of a Bond film.
Yeah, it does.
Wow.
The implications are certainly unsettling.
Yeah.
And this wasn't an isolated incident.
Oh, really?
OpenAI also shut down accounts potentially linked to a Chinese disinformation campaign, a North Korean scheme involving fake IT workers, and Iranian hackers poking around industrial control systems.
It's like
its playbook is evolving rapidly.
Yeah, it's like everyone's getting in on the action.
It is.
So nation-state actors are getting in on the AI action.
Yeah.
And it's not just limited to China.
No, not at all.
Speaking of nation-states with penchant for cyber mischief,
Mm-hmm.
Australia just banned Kaspersky products from all government
I
systems,
saw that.
citing potential Russian influence.
Yeah. This move follows similar actions by the U.S.,
Oh, right.
further cementing the deep-seated mistrust surrounding Kaspersky and its alleged ties to the Russian government.
Yeah. What do you make of that?
Well, the company maintains it's a private entity,
Right.
but this ban sends a strong message about the geopolitical undercurrents swirling around cybersecurity.
Yeah, it seems like trust, or the lack thereof,
Right.
is a major factor in today's cybersecurity landscape.
It really is.
And while governments are busy playing digital spy games,
Mm-hmm.
cybercriminals are finding ways to exploit the chaos.
Always.
Remember Genesis Market?
Oh, yeah.
That massive online bazaar for stolen data that got taken down last year?
Yes, that was a big one.
Yeah.
Authorities arrested over 100 individuals connected to the sale of everything,
Wow.
from stolen login credentials to sophisticated bots designed to bypass security systems.
100 people.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like some folks didn't get the memo.
Really?
The U.S. just charged a guy from Michigan
Oh, wow.
for buying and using stolen login credentials from Genesis Market.
Wow.
And get this,
Yeah.
he was even trying to sell some of the stolen data on raid forums,
No way.
another notorious cybercrime hub that got shut down in 2022.
That's unbelievable.
Right.
It's like a classic case of whack-a-mole.
It is.
You shut down one marketplace and another one pops up.
Yeah.
This highlights the persistent demand for stolen data and the constant cat-and-mouse game between law enforcement and cyber criminals.
And speaking of cyber criminals who seem to always be one step ahead,
Yeah.
North Korea is now being linked
I saw this.
to the biggest cryptocurrency heist in history.
Wow.
A jaw-dropping $1.5 billion
$1.5 billion.
pilfered from the Bybit exchange.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
It wasn't your typical brute force attack.
No.
They targeted the transfer of Ethereum from a cold wallet to a warm wallet,
Okay.
manipulating the user interface to redirect funds to their own addresses.
Wow.
It requires a high level of sophistication to pull that off.
So they essentially tricked the system into sending the money to the wrong place.
Essentially, yes.
That's audacious.
It is. It's a worrying trend. Blockchain analysis firms have linked the addresses used in this heist to previous North Korean thefts.
Really?
The U.S. has already pointed the finger at them for a $308 million Bitcoin, DMM.com heist,
Wow.
and a $600 million theft from Ronin.
Okay, so this isn't their first rodeo.
Definitely not.
It's clear they're becoming increasingly adept at exploiting vulnerabilities in the
Yeah.
cryptocurrency ecosystem.
They are.
So North Korea is robbing digital banks,
Uh-huh.
but it seems their cyber ambitions don't stop there.
Right.
They're also setting their sights on freelance software developers,
I read about this too.
specifically those working on platforms like LinkedIn and Upwork.
It's called deceptive development.
Deceptive development.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what ESET is calling it.
Oh, okay.
These attackers are posing as recruiters,
Wow.
enticing developers to download projects that are actually laced with malware.
Wow.
It's a clever tactic.
It is preying on the trust and eagerness of freelancers looking for their next gig.
Right, and what kind of malicious goodies are lurking within these poison projects?
So they've uncovered two particularly nasty strains.
Okay.
Beavertail.
Beaver tail.
Yeah. Okay.
And invisible ferret.
Invisible ferret. All right, so these are the names of the malware.
They are.
Okay.
Beaver tail acts as an information thief
Okay.
and a downloader for even more malware.
Oh, wow.
Invisible ferret, as the name suggests,
Right.
is a stealthy spyware and backdoor tool.
So they work together.
Together, they can pilfer cryptocurrency wallets,
Uh-huh.
steal credentials,
Yeah.
and even allow the attackers to remotely control the victim's computer.
So it's not just about stealing money.
No.
It's about building a network of compromised machines for future attacks.
Exactly.
A digital army of unsuspecting freelancers.
That's a good way to put it.
That's terrifying.
It is especially concerning because freelancers often work
Yeah.
on multiple projects for various clients.
Yeah. A compromised machine could provide a backdoor into multiple organizations,
Right.
potentially exposing sensitive data and intellectual property.
Wow. It begs the question.
Yeah.
What's driving this surge in North Korean cyber activity?
Well, the prevailing theory is that they are under immense pressure
No.
from international sanctions,
Right.
and cybercrime,
Uh-huh.
particularly cryptocurrency theft,
Yeah.
offers a lucrative workaround.
I guess so.
It's a worrying trend as their tactics are becoming increasingly sophisticated and brazen.
It is a worrying trend.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears for a moment and talk about Apple.
Okay.
You know how they were touting that advanced data protection feature for iCloud,
Yeah.
promising end-to-end encryption for all user data?
I remember that.
It was a big deal.
It was.
Well, guess what?
What?
They just pulled the plug on it in the UK.
Really?
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
It is.
While Apple hasn't explicitly stated the reason,
Right.
it's widely believed to be due to pressure from the UK government, which has been pushing for backdoor access to encrypted data for law enforcement purposes.
So the UK government is essentially forcing Apple to weaken its security.
It appears so, yes.
It's a major blow to privacy advocates.
It is a concerning precedent,
It is.
raising questions about the balance
Yeah.
between national security and individual privacy.
Right.
Apple has publicly expressed its disappointment and reiterated its stance against building backdoors into its products. However, it seems they were ultimately compelled to comply with the UK government's demands.
Wow, so much for end-to-end encryption.
Right?
It raises a slippery slope argument.
It does.
If governments can force companies like Apple to weaken their security, what's next?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
This case could embolden other governments to make similar demands, potentially eroding user privacy and security on a global scale.
Yeah, this is a scary precedent that's being set.
It is.
Okay, let's move on to a story that sounds ripped from the pages of a spy thriller. Chinese state-sponsored hackers
Oh, boy.
infiltrating U.S. telecom networks.
I was reading about this.
Cisco's Telos Intelligence Group
Yeah.
just released a report detailing how a group dubbed Salt Typhoon pulled it off.
Salt Typhoon.
Yeah.
What's remarkable about this case is their reliance on tried and true tactics.
Really?
Rather than cutting-edge exploits.
Interesting. So old school.
Yeah. They used a combination of known vulnerabilities,
Okay.
stolen credentials, and what's known as living off the land tactics to gain access and maintain persistence within these networks.
Living off the land, that sounds more like a survivalist tactic
It does, doesn't it?
than a cyber espionage technique.
Right.
Can you break that down for us?
Sure. Essentially, it means leveraging tools and resources already present on the victim's network to carry out the attack.
Okay.
This approach makes it much harder to detect because it doesn't involve installing new malware or suspicious files.
So they're blending in with the digital environment,
Right.
becoming almost invisible.
Yeah, like a chameleon.
Sneaky indeed.
Yeah.
How did they initially breach these networks?
So in at least one instance,
Okay.
they exploited a vulnerability in Cisco's Smart Install feature,
Okay.
a vulnerability that was patched back in 2018.
2018, so this is an old vulnerability.
It is.
And it's still being exploited.
It underscores the fact that even patched vulnerabilities can remain a threat if systems aren't promptly updated and security practices aren't diligently followed.
So an old vulnerability provided an entry point.
Yeah.
What did they do once they were inside these networks?
They embarked on a comprehensive campaign of data exfiltration and network manipulation. They stole credentials, captured network traffic, exfiltrated device configurations, and even used compromised networks as stepping stones to hop to other targets.
So they were essentially island hopping,
Yeah.
pivoting from one telecom company to another, sliffering data and planting backdoors along the way.
Yeah, you got it.
So they were in there for a while.
It seems so.
This Salt Typhoon group sounds like a formidable adversary.
They are.
And they were using relatively unsophisticated methods.
Right. But it was effective.
It clearly was.
It's a potent reminder that even with advanced security measures in place, vigilance and proactive security practices are paramount.
Absolutely.
This incident underscores the importance of vulnerability management, robust password policies, and multi-factor authentication as crucial lines of defense.
It sounds like the basics are still really important.
The basics are always important.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's shift our focus to the realm of software vulnerabilities. We've got a couple of big ones to cover.
Right.
First up, MongoDB's Mongoose library.
Yeah.
A workhorse for countless Node.js applications.
Yeah.
Just had 2 critical vulnerabilities patched.
I saw that these vulnerabilities are particularly troubling.
Okay, why is that?
Because they could allow attackers to remotely execute code on affected servers.
Oh, wow.
That means they could potentially seize control of the server and wreak havoc.
Yikes. So what's the game plan for developers using Mongoose?
Well, the good news is that patches are available.
Okay, good.
It's imperative that anyone using Mongoose updates to version 8.9.5 or later
Right.
as soon as possible to mitigate these vulnerabilities.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
And next up, we have CISA,
Oh.
the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency,
Right.
sounding the alarm about a vulnerability in the Craft CMS.
Yes, they've added CVE 2025-23209 to their known exploited vulnerabilities catalog,
Okay,
indicating it's being actively exploited in the wild.
so it's a live one.
It is.
This one's also a remote code execution vulnerability
Right.
impacting Craft installations
Yeah.
where the security key has already been compromised.
Right.
So another bad apple in the software orchard.
It seems so.
It's interesting that there was another Craft CMS vulnerability back in December
Uh-huh.
that was confirmed to be exploited,
Yeah.
but it hasn't been added to the KEV catalog yet.
You know, it highlights the inherent lag
Hmm.
between vulnerability discovery and inclusion in these catalogs.
Yeah.
Sometimes vulnerabilities are exploited before they're even publicly disclosed.
Wow.
Organizations must be proactive about their security
Right.
and not solely rely on these catalogs as their primary source of information.
Agreed. All right, last vulnerability on our list today.
Okay.
Palo Alto Networks just issued a warning
Yeah.
about a second PAN-OS vulnerability being exploited in the wild.
This one's a file read issue
Okay.
that on its own might not seem catastrophic.
Right.
However, attackers are chaining it
Uh-oh.
with 2 other vulnerabilities to gain complete control of unpatched firewalls.
So it's like a
Yeah, it's a multi-stage attack,
combo.
exploiting a chain of weaknesses
Yeah.
to achieve complete system compromise.
That's like a digital combo attack.
Right.
Land the first punch, then another, and boom, you're in.
Precisely.
Wow.
Palo Alto Networks has upgraded the severity of this vulnerability to high
Okay.
and is urging everyone to patch their systems immediately.
Right.
Delaying patching is like leaving your front door wide open and inviting trouble in.
So we've got a whole buffet of vulnerabilities to be aware of.
It seems like it.
Yeah, but let's circle back to that alarming statistic about BEC attacks.
Okay.
We're talking about a staggering $55 billion stolen since 2013.
It's mind-boggling.
It is.
It's a stark reminder that sometimes the simplest attacks can be the most effective.
Absolutely.
Let's delve into a recent case where a U.S. mining company called Neocorp
Okay.
lost $500,000 to a BEC attack.
$500,000 vanished into the digital ether.
It's incredible.
How did the attackers manage to pull this off?
Well, it's likely they compromised the company's email system and crafted messages that appeared to be from legitimate vendors requesting payment to a different bank account. They impersonated trusted sources to manipulate employees into diverting funds.
So they're essentially crafting digital disguises,
Right.
playing the role of a trusted vendor to deceive employees.
Exactly.
It's a social engineering attack,
It is.
exploiting human trust rather than technical vulnerabilities.
Absolutely.
And these attacks are often difficult to detect
Right.
because the emails can be very convincing,
Yeah.
mimicking the language and style of legitimate communications.
Exactly.
It underscores the fact that cybersecurity is not just about firewalls
Right.
and antivirus software.
It's about human awareness and training.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Employees need to be trained to spot these phishing emails
Right.
and to verify any requests for payment,
Uh-huh.
especially if they involve changes to bank account information.
So being vigilant
Yeah.
about any changes to financial information.
A healthy dose of skepticism and a rigorous verification process can go a long way in preventing these attacks.
And companies need to have strong security protocols in place
Wait.
to prevent unauthorized access to their email systems in the first place.
Absolutely.
Multi-factor authentication and robust email filtering systems are no longer optional.
They're essential.
They're essential components
Yeah.
of a comprehensive security strategy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
From the potential disruption of quantum computing
Right.
to the persistent threat of nation-state espionage and the ever-evolving tactics of cybercriminals.
It's a lot to keep up with.
And there's one more development that I think ties it all together.
Okay.
It's about the blurring lines between espionage and cybercrime.
Yes, the emergence of tools
Yeah.
typically used by Chinese APT groups
Right.
showing up in financially motivated ransomware attacks
Right.
is a significant development.
Yeah.
It muddies the waters
Yeah, it's
and makes attribution much more challenging.
So Symantec found a variant of the PlugX backdoor,
Yeah.
a tool often associated with Chinese espionage, being deployed alongside ransomware demands for millions of dollars.
Wow.
And Trend Micro observed ShadowPad, another malware family linked to Chinese threat actors,
Right.
popping up in ransomware incidents in Europe.
Interesting.
What's the story here?
Yeah.
Are these isolated incidents,
Well,
or is there a larger trend at play?
it's a complex question,
Yeah.
and there are a few possible explanations.
Okay.
One possibility is that there's a growing level of collusion
Mm-hmm.
between state-sponsored hackers and criminal groups.
So they're working together.
It's possible.
Wow.
The APT groups could be providing their tools and expertise
Like
to ransomware operators
Right.
in exchange for a cut of the profits.
Interesting.
It's a win-win situation for both parties.
So it's like a cybercrime joint venture,
Exactly.
a partnership of convenience
Yeah,
between two seemingly disparate groups.
it could be.
Wow.
Another possibility is that members of these APT groups
Okay.
are moonlighting as ransomware operators, using their skills and access to steal data for their government during the day,
Uh-huh.
and then using the same tools to extort money from businesses on the side.
Talk about a double life.
It's a lucrative side hustle, to say the least.
It's insane.
It is.
But it makes attribution really difficult.
It does.
If the same tools and techniques are being used
Right.
for both espionage and cybercrime.
It becomes increasingly difficult to pinpoint the true perpetrator of an attack.
It's like a digital smokescreen,
It is.
obscuring the identities and motivations of the attackers.
Yeah, you said it.
The lines are getting so blurred
They are.
that it's becoming harder to distinguish the good guys from the bad guys.
Precisely. And this trend of convergence
Yeah.
between espionage and cybercrime is likely to continue,
Right.
making the cybersecurity landscape even more complex and challenging to navigate.
Okay, that's some seriously unsettling stuff.
It is a lot to unpack.
It's
It's important to stay informed and vigilant.
Yeah,
The more we understand these evolving threats, the better prepared we'll be to defend ourselves.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does feel like we're playing a high-stakes game of chess
it does.
against an unseen opponent.
Right.
But instead of pawns and rooks,
Mm-hmm.
we're dealing with data breaches and
Right.
ransomware attacks.
Yeah.
It's all very cloak and dagger.
It is cloak and dagger.
Yeah,
And the stakes are only getting higher.
right.
The convergence of espionage and cybercrime
Mhm.
is a game changer,
It is.
adding a whole new layer of complexity
Yeah.
to an already challenging landscape.
So if the bad guys are upping their game,
Yeah.
what can we, the good guys, do
Well,
to protect ourselves?
you don't need a black belt in cybersecurity
Yeah.
to take effective action.
Right.
Awareness is your first line of defense.
Okay.
Stay informed about the latest threats,
Right.
understand how they work,
Okay.
and be aware of the potential consequences.
Okay, so knowledge is power.
Exactly.
But how do we translate that knowledge
Yeah.
into concrete actions?
It starts with the basics.
Okay.
Strong, unique passwords for every account are essential.
Right. Passwords, passwords, passwords.
And enabling multi-factor authentication whenever possible
Yeah.
adds an extra layer of security.
Right. It's like a deadbolt on your
Yeah.
front door.
It makes it much harder for intruders to get in.
So strong passwords and multi-factor authentication are like the digital equivalent
Yeah.
of locking your doors and windows.
Exactly.
What about phishing attacks?
Yeah, phishing attacks are tricky.
Those seem to be particularly difficult to avoid,
They are.
especially those sophisticated BEC scams we discussed earlier.
Phishing attacks prey on human psychology,
Right.
exploiting our trust and our tendency to click before we think.
Mm.
The best defense is a healthy dose of skepticism.
Okay.
Be wary of unsolicited emails, especially those requesting payment or
Right.
containing suspicious links.
Right.
Verify the sender's identity through a separate channel before taking any action.
So reach out independently.
Exactly.
Okay. And if something seems off,
Trust your gut.
trust your gut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your intuition is often right.
So it's all about being cautious
Yeah.
and thinking twice before clicking that tempting link
Right.
or opening that attachment.
Don't just click willy-nilly.
Exactly. But beyond individual vigilance,
Yeah.
what role do companies and organizations play
Well,
in this digital arms race?
organizations need to adopt a proactive security mindset.
Oh.
This means implementing robust security protocols,
Uh-huh.
like strong password policies
Right.
and multi-factor authentication for all employees.
Okay.
Regularly updating software and systems is crucial to patch known vulnerabilities.
Right. Keeping everything up to date.
Yeah, absolutely.
And investing in employee training programs
Yes.
to raise awareness about cybersecurity threats
That's a key.
and best practices is essential.
Absolutely.
It sounds like a multifaceted approach is key.
It is.
Strong technology, coupled with an educated and vigilant workforce.
You got it.
So we've talked about the threats, the vulnerabilities, and the need for proactive security measures.
Right.
But let's step back for a moment and consider the bigger picture.
The big picture.
What does the future of cybersecurity look like?
Well,
Are we heading towards a digital dystopia where cybercrime runs rampant and privacy is a distant memory?
the future of cybersecurity is a complex and ever-evolving landscape.
Right.
We're facing unprecedented challenges from the rise of sophisticated AI-powered attacks to the blurring lines between nation-state espionage and criminal activity.
Okay, but are you optimistic?
I am actually.
Optimistic?
I am.
In the face of all these threats?
Yes.
I'm intrigued.
Well, the cybersecurity industry is constantly innovating, developing new tools and techniques to counter these evolving threats. We're seeing advances in areas like threat intelligence sharing, automated threat detection, and behavioral analytics that are helping organizations stay ahead of the curve.
So it's like a digital arms race.
In some ways, yes.
With both sides constantly trying to outmaneuver the other.
You could say that.
Okay.
But it's not just about technology.
Right.
It's about fostering a culture of cybersecurity awareness and collaboration.
So we all need to work together.
We do.
Okay.
We need to break down silos, share information, and work together to create a more secure digital ecosystem.
Collaboration, education, and a relentless pursuit of innovation.
Those are the key ingredients.
Those sound like the key ingredients for a more secure digital future.
They are.
But in the meantime, what resources are available for those who want to learn more about cybersecurity?
There are a plethora of resources available.
Okay.
Both online and offline.
Like what?
Organizations like the SANS Institute and ISACA offer a wide range of cybersecurity training and certification programs.
Right, certification.
Yeah.
So
online platforms like Coursera and Udemy provide affordable and accessible courses on various cybersecurity topics.
Okay, so there's stuff out there.
There is.
For people to learn.
Absolutely.
And there are conferences.
And don't forget about industry events and conferences, which provide valuable opportunities to network with experts and stay abreast of the latest trends.
And of course, there's Cybersecurity HQ, your one-stop shop for all things cybersecurity.
Absolutely.
They've got the latest news, in-depth analysis, a comprehensive job board, and even a weekly newsletter read by over 70,000 cybersecurity professionals.
It's a valuable resource for anyone looking to deepen their understanding of the cybersecurity landscape.
For sure.
Whether they're a seasoned professional or just starting out.
So for those who want to dive deeper into this complex and fascinating world, Cybersecurity HQ is the place to be.
It is.
And with that, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
When we come back,
All right.
we'll wrap up our deep dive with some final thoughts and key takeaways. Okay, so we've journeyed through the digital battlefields, encountered quantum enigmas, and witnessed the rise of AI as both a guardian and a weapon.
A powerful tool.
It is powerful.
Yeah.
What's the overarching takeaway from all of this?
The resounding message is that the cybersecurity landscape is a dynamic and ever-evolving beast.
A beast.
A beast.
Okay.
It's not a static entity, but a constantly shifting terrain where the rules of engagement are continuously being rewritten.
So we can't just set it and forget it.
No.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution. No silver bullet to ward off these digital threats.
I wish there were.
But
unfortunately, no.
So proactive and adaptive mindset is crucial.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's about anticipating threats, understanding vulnerabilities, and implementing layered defenses that evolve alongside the tactics of the attackers.
But isn't that a daunting task?
It can be.
I mean, we've got nation-state actors with seemingly limitless resources. Cyber criminal gangs operating like multinational corporations. And AI being weaponized at an alarming rate.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
How can individuals and organizations possibly keep up?
Well, it's a valid concern.
Yeah.
The adversaries are formidable.
They are.
And their tactics are constantly evolving. But it's not an insurmountable challenge. Knowledge is power. And staying informed about the latest threats and vulnerabilities is crucial.
So stay informed. Stay ahead of the game.
Think of it like staying up to date on weather forecasts.
Okay.
You might not be able to control the storm,
Right.
but you can prepare for it and mitigate its impact.
So awareness is key.
Awareness is key.
But what about those of us who aren't cybersecurity experts? What practical steps can we take to protect ourselves in our daily digital lives?
Start with the fundamentals.
Cool.
Strong, unique passwords for every account are non-negotiable.
Passwords.
And enabling multi-factor authentication whenever possible is like adding an extra lock on your digital door.
Okay, another layer of security.
Right.
Be cautious about what you click on.
Yes.
Verify requests for sensitive information.
Absolutely.
And keep your software updated.
Keep those updates coming.
It sounds like we've heard this before.
It's basic but important.
It is.
Yeah, think of it as practicing good digital hygiene.
Okay, so just like we wash our hands and brush our teeth.
Exactly.
To maintain physical hygiene, we need to maintain digital hygiene.
Absolutely.
And don't underestimate the power of skepticism.
Right.
Question everything.
Feeling a little paranoid.
Be paranoid.
It's healthy in the digital world.
Verify requests that seem out of the ordinary.
Yes. If something feels fishy, trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your intuition is often right.
So it sounds like a mix of vigilance, common sense,
right,
and healthy skepticism.
That's the recipe.
Can go a long way in navigating this digital minefield.
It can.
But beyond individual actions, what role do companies and organizations play in bolstering our collective cyber defenses?
Organizations need to shift from a reactive to a proactive security posture.
So be more prepared.
Right. It's about anticipating threats, assessing vulnerabilities, and implementing layered security measures that go beyond just firewalls and antivirus software.
So it's not just about building higher walls.
It's not just about the perimeter.
Right.
It's about having a multi-pronged defense strategy.
Okay, a defense in-depth approach.
Yeah, exactly.
Investing in employee training programs.
Yes.
To raise awareness about cyber threats is paramount.
It's essential. A well-informed workforce is a powerful defense against social engineering attacks like phishing and BC scams.
So it seems like creating a culture of cybersecurity awareness is crucial.
It really is.
It's not just about technology, but also about fostering a shared sense of responsibility for digital security.
Absolutely.
So cybersecurity is a team sport.
It is.
And everyone has a role to play.
Everyone.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the parting thought you want to leave our listeners with?
The cybersecurity landscape is complex.
It is.
It's never-changing.
Right.
But it's not insurmountable. By staying informed, being vigilant, and adopting a proactive security mindset, we can navigate this digital frontier and mitigate the risks.
Absolutely. And remember,
awareness.
For all the latest news, insights, and resources on cybersecurity,
Cybersecurity HQ.
Cybersecurity HQ is your go-to hub.
It is the place to be.
They've got in-depth articles, expert analysis, a comprehensive job board, and a weekly newsletter read by over 70,000 cybersecurity professionals.
It's a fantastic resource.
It is a fantastic resource. So stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe in the digital world.
Good advice.
Until next time, this is The Deep Dive signing off.